Good evening, and it's July 11th. It's a Thursday, and I'm broadcasting live from Southern California. And I want to welcome you to my podcast. I'm Bob Pace, your host, and here we are to fight CPS and stop taking our children. CPS is the Child Protection System. It's a branch of social services supposed to protect our children from neglect and abuse. Neglect and abuse. And myself included, and all of you that come in here probably had one form of CPS. Now, I am a loving father with 7 children. I've been married 32 years, and unfortunately, I lost one of my children due to CPS. I lost a lot of things due to CPS. But I do want to, welcome y'all, and I want to tell you how you can participate in this live podcast. Now, I'm going to notify a couple of the uh, of our hosts because the notification sometimes is delayed. And there's people that come in regularly to my room, and I want them to hear about that. So, okay. All right, Toretti. The first person I'm going to notify is Faye, who's been from Kentucky, and she's been on the show a lot, and she's helped me instrumental. The other person was my co-host, who's had computer issues, and I hope that she will come back one day soon. I haven't heard from her in a bit, and I hope she's okay. That is Danielle, and she's from Georgia. The third person who's been on a lot has been Natalie from West Hollywood. And hopefully that she'll see the notification. Now, I am happy to see Lori Hiller, who's been on the show. I mean, well, she's been puts her name in there, but I have no idea where she's from. And today she has somebody else new here called Yvonne Smith. Now I noticed the names changed, so I don't know if she's trying to list her children or what. But Lori, I'm glad you're here. I just like to start in with um, my phone number's up on the screen. So that's one way you can interact with this podcast. All you have to do is call into my cell number. That's my work number, 626-698-0990. And you can reach me and you can go live on this podcast. I will turn on the speaker button and everybody will be able to hear you. You'll be able to, talk on the show. All you have to do is call in at 626-698-0990. Now, another way that you could interact with this podcast is that you could text me a comment. Now, when typing in the comment, please make sure it's a CPS question. We want to stick to CPS. Also, please show your name, city, state, or county, and be complete with your CPS case. So I don't have to play ping pong if you only put in a few things I ask and then you put a few things I ask, it goes back and forth and it takes forever. So you want to start from the beginning when the allegations first came in, and what are the allegations? Was it neglect or was it abuse? And what kind of neglect? What kind of abuse? Also, how many children are involved? How many parents are involved? Some of the families have four different mothers or four different fathers. So that's important. And also, if your relationships are still together, or maybe the one of the parents have moved off and no longer wants the interest. But that's important. And then where you are with your case at the moment. Are you, just happened yesterday, or you've been going for 6 months or a year? So where you are, and then we'll try to work in questions to help you. So texting in is an easy way. Now I say please show your name, city, state, or country. And what I mean by country is that right now we have a new country today from India. We've had Australia, Canada, and Mexico text in. Then we've had in Europe, United Kingdom, Denmark, and Sweden. And from South America, we've had Ghana, which is above Brazil, east of Venezuela on the coast. And then we've had Africa. And we've had three countries from Africa. We've had Mozambique, which is south of Somalia, north of South Africa, and across from Madagascar. Also, we've had Rwanda, which is in central East Africa, and it's by a big lake. Also, we've had on the west coast in North Africa, Liberia, and that's been Archie, and he's been on a lot. He's a scouter, and they are heavily involved in scouting, but he wants no ideas of how to protect the children. So he has many times come on the show. So the newest country is India. The guy married a wife in the USA. They have a child there, and he's from India. And they're trying to get CPS is trying to get his child because his wife supposedly refused to give drugs or give medicine or something. I don't know the particulars, but he said to be back. So we have India as the newest country. And of course, I've talked to over 500 people, including a social worker, who told about how CPS worked in her state. She had a clinical psychology degree, and she said she had additional 6 months of training from the state of Maryland to handle CPS cases. So those are three ways. One is by phone call. Two is by comments. And the third way, I should say right now, and I got to see some more people come in. Natalie just came in. Hi. She's from West Hollywood, and my internet connection is bad. It's okay, Natalie. I know the feeling. I'm just glad you're here. But a third way is if you want to be a guest on the podcast. And to schedule a guest, to be our guest, all you're going to do is contact our show producer, who's Grace. She works very hard behind the scenes, and she helps me, and she'll help you get a link to the StreamYard, which is the application that we use on YouTube. And she'll tell you what to say and how to set up and everything. So being a guest is nice because you'd be talking right with me. We'd be sharing the screen together. So that's the third way. So now I'm going to reverse it back to the phone number again, because that's most of the time that you guys will be calling here. As soon as I get my phone number, there it is. Now, Natalie's further said, besides her bad internet, she is also talking about cooking. I guess she's discovered her new electric skillet. Anyway, she made a bean rice casserole. I guess that's a CPS related information there, and nobody bothered me today. Great. She sometimes parks herself on her driveway. She has a small home, and West Hollywood's been really bad towards her. They've been after her trees and, of course, her kids and stuff. But she comes on for every show, and I appreciate her. So we've talked about how they interact with this. Now I'm going to tell you what the animal you're dealing with, CPS. Yes, I call them an animal because they are not transparent. They lie, they cheat, they will take revenge, and they do not like mothers or fathers or grandparents or seniors or elderly people. They're just really anti-uniform. You see, when CPS breaks the family apart, they need to bring the family back together. It's really important because parents, the best parents for children are the biological parents. It's been proven time and time that the biological parents are the best parents. And so, let me tell you kind of like what you're going to expect or see with CPS. I'm talking from firsthand experience. And I had 3 of my children taken away and got back 2. And it was sad how I lost one of my children. But these social workers are so bad themselves. We have one group of social workers in Prescott, Arizona. There are 8 social workers with over 25 years of experience between them. In the year 2022, they decided to get pink t-shirts, and on stencil on the front, they had professional child kidnappers. And on the back, they put, "Do you know where your children are at?" Now, these are CPS workers. These are supposed to be people that are going to help you. They are bad. They are really bad. And mine was so bad that she took revenge on us and me and my wife. She said, "You'll never see your daughter." And what she did to our daughter, she was caught lying on the witness stand, the CPS worker did. We caught her, and she wanted to retaliate. So she said, "You're never going to see your daughter." And so what she did, she instructed her 12-year-old daughter to change her name, to seal her birth certificate, and to be adopted into a foster care family. Now, my daughter was 12 at the time, so I know that most 12-year-olds don't know all this. And so she was coached and coerced there because all CPS does is a front for child trafficking. It's a front. They're a bogus agency. They're worse than the IRS. It's really sad. It's really sad. That's what you're going against. That's what you're going against. So I've told you that these ladies that paraded around in Walmart and Target till they got caught and they were busted, as well as the director of CPS there, they're all gone. And that only left one social worker, a guy, left to still work the CPS desk there. They call theirs in Arizona Department of Child Services, DCS. Every state will have a different name. And so I say the Child Protection Services, and I'm referring to all of them in all the states. So I know it's hard, but there's 4 rules that I have that will help you. There's 4 rules that will help you. There's rule number 1, which is get an attorney. Rule number 2, which is organizing your paperwork. Rule number 3 is not to talk to judges or social workers or police. And don't let them take your children, and don't let them in your home. And of course, rule number 4 is to learn about your adversary, you know, the CPS agency that is supposed to be representing social works. You got to be really careful when that name appears. So, another example of some really great social workers is a lady who is a social worker in Chicago, Illinois. Now, what she did a month ago is she advertised on her Facebook. She advertised an ad. She reposted an ad from 1848. This ad is before the Civil War. And the ad she placed was black children for sale. Now, I don't know what her thinking was because she's a black woman herself. And I don't know why she did that. So you can, you can fight. You got to really fight them because they're bad news. They're bad news. Now, this rule number one that I'm talking about. Oh, before I go, the lady that had the ad, she's a black woman, and we don't know why a black woman would post an ad from the pre-Civil War days of 1848 onto her Facebook. We don't know what the story was about at all. But that's your typical social worker. Another one is a social worker that was a guy assigned to the case, went to the school to investigate, and hold on one second here. Hold on one second. Okay, I'm back. Um, Family was asking about dinner. I always have that issue of dinner time when I do my podcasts. But this social worker, the third scenario, was this guy that went to investigate an 8-year-old girl at school. The mom, Crystal, wasn't informed of this. The school didn't call her or have her sit in another room. But to make matters worse, this man asked the girl, who's 8 years old, to take her top off and be nude in front of him. And he didn't have a secondary adult, he didn't have a nurse, he had nobody from school rep. I cannot believe the school people let this happen. I can't believe anybody would let it happen. That is a pedophile. Any man that takes pictures of young children naked is a pedophile. Now, the director, Crystal, told me that they sent a letter of apology to her and immediately terminate that guy. That was wrong. But I'm telling you, that's the third kind of social workers. There's the pink ladies that say they're professional kidnappers. There's a lady in Chicago that wants to advertise black children for sale. And now there's this man that wants to take pictures of young girls naked. And I'm trying to tell you, these social workers are not good people. There are lots of problems with them. Lots of problems. And you got to be careful. You got to be careful of this. And you got to record everything and copy everything so that way you can present your case to them, because they are corrupt. They are corrupt. So just a heads up on that. Let's see what Natalie also says. Fired. Uh-oh. The social wants to scam us for not posting for merchandise. I'm confused about that, Natalie from West Hollywood. You say the social worker wanted to scam us for not paying for merchandise. What happened? Is that someone didn't pay for merchandise? I need some more information, Natalie, on that one there. Also, I'd love to see more of you texting messages in or calling in. My number's live right now. It's 626-698-0990. And it's open and you can call in on it. All right, I'm back. Okay. She said yes, she agreed. Natalie says, good, fired. The social worker wanted to scam us for not paying for merchandise. She called my aunt to buy flowers. The social worker did not want to pay for the flowers. I don't know what flowers got to do, but the social worker called her aunt to buy flowers. Now, why would the social worker who's investigating a CPS case want to have your aunt sell her flowers? The social worker did not want to pay for the flowers. That's ridiculous. If your aunt is selling flowers, she's got to pay for it. You need to talk to the supervisor on that one there, Natalie. Now, I've talked about this first rule. Hold on 1 second here. I'm back. Um, so we have rule number one. I have four rules. Rule number one is you have to get an attorney because the people are so bad. Two, you need to do the paperwork. And three, you need to say no to social workers and don't let them in your home and don't let them take your children. That also goes for the police. And rule four is the research your CPS system in the state and the county you live in, the city. You need to find out all kinds of information. So going back to rule number one, we have an attorney who produces this podcast. His name is Vincent W. Davis. And right now, you can call him up to have a consultation for 30 minutes for $60. All you do is call 888-888-6582 and ask that you want to have a consultation with Mr. Davis. Make sure you tell the people when you call in that you spoke to Bob Pace, that Bob Pace sent you. Furthermore, when you do talk to Mr. Davis, make sure you tell him that Bob Pace sent you. It's really important he knows that feedback. So you do 888-888-6582. Now, if you want to check his calendar, see how busy he is, where he is, there's a website link you can check on it. You want to start with the word Candly, CALNDLY.com/law office of VWD/Bob Pace. It's scrolling at the bottom of my screen, but that will show his calendar and you can see what day he's free. That's Candly, CLENDLY.com/law office of VWD/Bob Pace. And that repeats right below there. So when you talk to him, he will help you navigate and fight CPS. He's been doing family dependency law for over 35 years. He's a trial attorney. He has fought CPS and he's won against CPS and got the children returned. He's also done civil lawsuits against CPS, both at the state level and at the federal level. So he has a vast of experience and he will get your kids back and help you. It took me a while to hire him because I thought I could do it all on my own. And let me tell you, the public defender was a waste of time. They don't help you. They don't have time outside of their cases. They have over 30 some cases already, and they won't talk to you privately or do all the things they're supposed to. They won't fight for your case. It's sad, but they are not there. They're not your team. They're not your team. So I'm telling you, it's very, very important that you talk to Mr. Davis because he'll lay out strategies to fight them and get your kids back. He also can be retained. You need to talk to him about that. Now, this 30-minute strategy, he can, He'll talk to you for 30 minutes for $60. And you got nothing to lose. Nothing to lose. He has his own podcast. As I say, he's a trial attorney. He's been doing this for 35 years. And so he will help you out. He will help you out. Now, another reason why you need an attorney is that, open heart surgery, that's very complex and hard to do. Well, that's the same thing with uh, social workers here, the child protection system. You need a fighter. You need someone that can fight. And right now, uh, Vincent can be reached at that phone number, 888-888-6582, or their website. But it's really important that you have a phone number that would be replaceable. So you'll find out that CPS is not your friend. They're the worst person to be around with. They'll kidnap your children and use it against you. They'll trick you into open your house. They're very, very um, um, so getting this attorney is so important. I wish I had done. So I lost my daughter. What happened to me when I had Vincent aboard, I sold my home, I got the money, and retained him. Then he went to work and he was cross examining the social worker and he caught her in a big lie. The lie was that my daughter was being adopted by my wife's sister. And she stated that there was no domestic violence, which is long history of domestic violence with my wife's sister and her husband. So she lied under oath, and it really hurt the case. And she wanted to retaliate, so she did so, which is really sad. She really did. So I tell you, getting this attorney is a really good thing because fighting CPS is like being in Alice in Wonderland. You went in the backyard, you found a rabbit hole, you fell in, and you're going from room to room off with your head and nothing making sense. That's what CPS workers are. They don't make sense, and all they want is the money. I had allegations from my in law. There were two types of allegations. They're the ones by professional people, and ones by um, uh, um, non professional people. And what happened is that my in laws were making up stories when I lost my job, and they made it miserable for us for 5 years. And I didn't know it was them, but I finally figured it out. By that time, the damage was done. 10 years was really messed up. So I'm telling you, get that attorney. Your life would be so much better. And when I did, I got my two boys back. It was 3 years, but learned a lot. Now, rule number 2 is to organize your paperwork. You should have a notebook 6 inches thick, 3 rings, and you should have dividers, subject dividers. And one of the subject dividers is incidents. Incidents. What you do is you list all the incidents starting from the oldest date to the newest. You put in the date, the time, the location, and the people that were involved. And there's one more than one, you do this twice. Because what you want to do is you want to be able to talk to your so now what I want to do. Oh, Faye came in the room. Did you hear from Leslie? No. Leslie has not come in tonight. We were really worried about her. She was on last night, and they have somehow stolen her daughter. Now, Frank was on earlier today, and hey, Bob, sorry I'm late. Here is the great article to read for the show tonight. I love this organization, Women's Coalitions International Org. And Natalie says, hi, Faye. So we have Faye here, and I was covering the second rule. I already covered the first rule, and the second rule was the notebook with all your paperwork. You want to also have a section in there for your court papers, and a section in there for info, and another section for all the parenting certificates that you got, and then your program certificates. And right now, Natalie and Faye are saying hi to each other. The reason why I'm saying this is I don't know if the comments are being repeated in the room. I see them, but I don't know if the rest of you see them. But last night for hours, I want to tell you, I want to thankful to that beautiful person, Faye, who helped me with the history of child abuse and neglect with our children. It goes back quite a long ways. And it's divided into 3 eras. The first era is from the 1600s colonial days to 1875. The next era is from 1875 to 1962. And then the third era is from 62 to the present. So this history started a long time ago for people that were attempting to protect children. There were organizations, not really organizations, but there were very rich people that offered help. They were called in the beginning societies. They were called societies. The CPS agency or the CPS services weren't started too much later. And I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about it, but it's quite interesting. It's quite interesting. But Faye has now put together a good article about the history, and I have that there, and that's something we may or may want to get into, but it's really great. But I want to thank Faye so much, and she's really great, and she knows her stuff. You see, Faye is a wonderful mother. She had 2 children. She's lost her daughter. She has her special needs sons that she's trying to get guardianship of. Anyway, she's from Richmond, Kentucky. The police are corrupt, the social worker. In fact, they are doing an audit of the Richmond the child protection system there. and they found that there's $900 unaccounted for. $900,000. I'm sorry. 900,000. $900,000 unaccounted for. Because Faye knows they're corrupt. And we all know they're corrupt. And so it's important there. Now, Frank, are you going to give me that article for the show tonight? Did you send it to me, my email, or I'm confused? Where is it so I could talk about it? Kentucky under federal investigation. Right. Faye says that Kentucky's under federal investigation. The Supreme Court is now investigating Kentucky, and it's pretty heavy. There are a lot of heads that are going to roll. And Faye has a lot of information about that. She's talked once on the show about that. Now, moving on from your notebook, you're going to be talking about how to talk to social workers. The best way is don't talk to them. Short answers, no or yes. Do not allow them in your home. Do not let the police in your home. They have to be in imminent danger. My children weren't. They were in school and they're rounded up and they're put in imminent danger. They're put into the foster care safe house, or where you want to call it, that was right next to the Bureau of Prisons for Juvenile. And they had their courtyard attached to the CPS's special shelter. So it's very careful out there. It's very, very bad out there. And Faye further says the DOJ is investigating and Kentucky State Auditor. So, yes, you got to keep us abreast about that. But there's a shakeup call. It's happening. There's too much corruption in CPS. I don't know if you ever seen it or look back from it, but it's pretty heavy there. Okay, we have a guest on my work phone. Hi, I'm Bob Pace, and who am I talking to?
Hi, Bob Pace. It's Angelina Andreoli from Rhode Island, Massachusetts.
All right, I think you've been on before, haven't you?
Yeah, quite a bit.
Right, you're the mother that was doing a surgery in Boston, and you left your children with your mom in Rhode Island, and the CPS from Boston went to Rhode Island to steal your children. Is that correct?
Yes.
So I want you all to listen to that. Is the CPS now is going from state to state, and they shouldn't have. There's an agency called the ICPC that is a non-government agency, a private agency that does the transportation, the safe transportation of children. Sometimes children are moving from state to state because they need special needs or special needs kids, and they need a special needs thing. So what can I do for you tonight? What can I do for you tonight?
I'm calling in to give you more of a question to see like if there's any input that you could give me on in regards to when the CPS retaliates, when it gets close to trial and they don't have evidence. I'm being stalked and harassed, and I never in my life felt that like.
Wow.
They'll take it this far, and yeah, to the point where like they removed the workers, were suspended, and I have new workers and whatnot. But the stalking and the harassment actually is being conducted by the former social worker's father-in-law, which is then like now like it's to the point where like I'm scared to drive my car. They're following. They are sitting outside. Like I had moved to Rhode Island, and I still have these. I'm still in Massachusetts. They're still trying to keep the jurisdiction and following me to the hospitals, to the doctor's offices, but I don't know these people because I mean they're hired from the third party, which is, I don't know how to get it to stop, and I'd rather it stop than have to continue with law enforcement, in which the police are the ones who actually caught and called to the CPS local Massachusetts agency and that the supervisor was the one that they caught on camera seven times within 1 week. Drive by my house. I didn't even know that it was the supervisor actually was doing it. And
wow.
It's scary for me that people. It's not about the children anymore, and I don't know how to go about. I would rather just come to peace and not even talk about it and just turn my head to it and me and my babies can look the other way, but I don't feel comfortable even driving when my kids in the car with people trying to run me off the road. They don't really know why they're doing. These people that are stalking me don't know why they were hired to follow me. The real reason, and it's concerning. And I never heard of this in my life. I don't know if there's anyone else that has gone through this or has any advice on it, but how far are they willing to take this? To the point where my bean tube ripped out of my stomach because I was they were intimidating me across the street from my house when I was in Massachusetts 2 weeks ago, trying to have holding a fake gun in their hand. This is a random individual I don't know, and I mean the police have been great with responding, and on top of it, that it didn't end. They're driving around using fake license plates. I mean the state police are involved. I mean I don't want to have to escalate it any further because I mean the retaliation versus ending it. I'd rather not go. This isn't fair, and this isn't, obviously none of this is fair, but how do we stop this versus it continuing on and more retaliation? I don't think that it'll ever stop until, it's affecting my children. It's more of a hate crime towards me versus anything to do with protecting my children. They're trying to cover their butt for what they did wrong. And I don't know what to do.
Well, what you can do you ever get the attorney?
I did have the local attorney that I did hire was he asked lazy days ago was that where he's telling me not to bring up stalking in court because it's going to it's not I think he's in on it too. I mean it's the whole county in Massachusetts that I'm working on thought of. I just feel this guy's also they're trying to disregard the fact of the bigger issue, which is the more that they're harassing and stalking me, calling me into stores, asking me I'm being sexually harassed in stores by some of these people because they're finding alternative motives for what they're really doing, and I can't focus on what's really important with these people. I'm literally in fear of walking on eggshells, you know what I mean? And my attorney told me not to talk about this or bring it up in the courtroom. Meanwhile, the police department tried filing a restraining order on them, and a no harassment order, and the harassment order actually was approved from the judge in the clerk's office. Actually ripped it up and said it gets denied. I don't really have anything. They said just keep going back in. And now I'm in I'm in Rhode Island, and Rhode Island state police are aware and whatnot. But my attorney's incompetent. He's telling me not to bring this up, and that it's ridiculous to even bring up, and it's gonna make me look like a psycho in court. And I'm I have evidence. The police have evidence. Cameras can't get. The cameras can't get psychosis, you know what I mean?
Yes, yes.
I wish I did have it. It would be medically treatable,
Uh-huh.
But I can't treat the fact that the cameras can't get sick and can't get medically, and I mean, my attorney's not any help right now. He's actually hasn't put the subpoena through. My trial is on the 24th of this month.
Right.
And I have a surgery coming up, and I'm scared to go to the surgery because I have surgery tomorrow for the pain tube that was ripped out of my stomach. I just don't know whether or not, if I go to that surgery,
Well, why is it? I mean, I still understand. Why is it when you made arrangements to have your children safe with your mother? Why is the surgery? What is wrong with that?
They're doing. I have no idea. They don't either, and that's why what they're doing right now is trying to make me to the point where to distract me so far from being prepared for, because they don't have evidence to prove why what the issue was in the first place. That it's turning into like they're trying to distract from what they did wrong to try and make like obviously me seem like I'm either like to the point where they had like a state trooper pull me over and said that I had weapons on me and drugs, and like they couldn't find even like the state trooper apologized to me and like told me to report it to the local police, that like and told me what was really happening was that they hired a private investigation firm that is not licensed and doing a bad job, and that I need to just keep reporting everything to the local police department that's been like that is aware and has gone after these people. The social worker changed their address to a local address, so they had a reason why they were living near my house, driving by my house and whatnot. I mean, they don't have anything to prove, and their injustice for what they're doing to me is trying to get justice for themselves to cover up, and it's more of, I think at this point, more of a hate crime. Like it's like the hate, like they're targeting me. It's not about like anything.
Can you refresh the allegations?
What do you mean by that? I mean,
well, the allegations that they are holding your children. Now, if your children are still with your grandmother, but they took it from your mom. I mean, not your grandmother, but your mom. Where are the children?
At my godmother's house in Rhode Island.
And the reason why they can't have it with your mom, what was the reason for that?
Well, the reason why they removed them from my mom's house was the reason they said that they were taken from my mom was 17 different reasons. First, they said it was because my mom had a back brace on, and she wasn't capable of handling the kids, which that was false. Since they were there earlier in the daytime, and they confirmed that they weren't removing the children. They were there for and helping. Meanwhile, they were, second allegation was that they said my daughters missed 7 appointments with their pediatrician. That was confirmed at that same time that they came to my mom's house earlier in the afternoon while I was in the hospital. That with the pediatrician, that they did not miss 7 appointments, and that any appointments that were missed were immediately rescheduled, and they did go to the doctor. They're not behind on the appointment.
Okay.
And then the third allegation was that me being in the hospital was mental abuse, emotional abuse. Which that none of these allegations stuck. So right now they're trying to say that I'm substance abuse, and my doctors overturned that, and I went for a substance abuse eval, and they laughed in their face and said like, I've never failed the drug test. I'm not. There's no concern of any substance abuse. Just my reaction to I did a mental eval. They want me to go, now they want me to go to another one, a psych eval, and the psych eval just explained to them that the only thing that they're concerned is the ongoing trauma that they're causing me by not being with my girls.
Right,
and
right.
Other than that, I had the trial coming up, and that they wanted me to sign a 6-month permanency at the last court date, and I had to hire another attorney because the attorney at the time demanded that I sign that I was never seeing my children again.
Okay.
So because of that, the judges was ruled in my favor and said, nope, we're not. So that I went back in the courthouse, and there was another judge that witnessed that. So I have the opportunity for the trial. I subpoenaed 18 people, including 6 professional witnesses, and nobody's received a subpoena yet. It's kind of like a really bad situation of like the county.
Right, right.
You know what I mean? It's not due diligence or like following policy procedure. It's kind of like everyone's saying, the rules are like changing or adapting
Right.
to whatever.
Well, I'm going to have to curtail the show because at 8 o'clock another show will be starting. So I want to thank all of you for calling in tonight, and including you. It's good to talk to you again from Boston. I hope you all will call me again tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the morning. Thank you, Natalie from West Hollywood, and Faye from Richmond, Kentucky, for being on. Frank Ritter, I forgot where you're from, but I look forward to that article. I love to read about it. And then let me see who else we had. We had Lori that was in the room, Lori Hiller. So again, thank you very much. God bless you all, and I'll see you tomorrow at 10 o'clock.